Hello everyone, my name's Idiotic Synergy and I've just recorded this video. Unfortunately my microphone wasn't on, so I guess we have to redo everything once again. However, this doesn't take away from the fact that I really liked this model. This is Kria the Huntress, House Escher Bounty Hunter. Finding the rules for this character though was a pain in my bum. If you want to know what I mean by that, if you think that the House Escher Bounty Hunter was, say, in the House Escher book, The House of Blades, you would be so wrong. It's in the Gangs of the Underhive book, stupid. Anyway, this model is really nice. I like the model. The model is really good and colourful and vibrant, and everything about this model, apart from one little issue I have with it, is brilliant. I like the guns, I like her outfit, I like the headdress. Everything about this model is really bloody cool. What's the one thing I hate about this model, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. It's her face. Her face is sculpted really weird, and I don't understand who did it, because the rest of the model is really quite cool. Her face is cross-eyed and pouty. It doesn't make sense. Why is she pouting? Why is she cross-eyed? She's a death maiden. She stalks her prey. She uses toxic weapons. She runs at people and stabs them repeatedly, or shoots them in the face with a sniper rifle. Why is her face boss-eyed and pouty, and it's just a really bad sculpt, which is a shame because the rest of this model is really nicely painted, it's really vibrant, it's really colourful, it's brilliant. I like the headdress, I like the armour, I like the guns she has. Everything about this model is really sodding cool. It's just the face. The face doesn't make sense. Maybe if you use a regular Escher model, a regular Escher head, you might be able to improve the head, but then again, you're taking away from this utterly beautiful headdress. I like the headdress. It's nicely detailed, it's bright, it's vibrant, it fits with Escher's, because Eschers are like this psychedelic chem-addicted gang of murderers. They're a really cool gang. This model is a really cool bounty hunter. It's just the shame that the face doesn't match up with the rest of the model. And yeah, that's it really. Just, I don't like the face because it looks cross-eyed and pouty. It should look more stern, serious, or angry rather than catwalk model. That being said, the rules for this model are quite good, so let me go through them again. This microphone will be the death of me. So, these are the rules for Kria Keitaro, not in the House Escher book, instead in the Gangs of the Underhive book. Why? I don't know, maybe someone hates me, but it's just so annoying. Just put the House Bounty Hunters inside the house books. It would be so easier. So people don't have to fork out for another sodding book, but I understand why they did that, so people have to buy at least 2 books. Anyway, despite all that, the rules for this character are very good, and it's 240 credits, which is, compared to Slate Moderna, really cheap. In fact, comparing anything to Slate Moderna is insane, because Slate Moderna is really expensive, but for all the good reasons. This model is quite cheap when comparing it to other bounty hunters, or expensive, basically average. And it's a really good model. Movement 5, weapon skill and ballistic skill 3, that isn't bad at all, especially when most people hit on 4s and 5s. Strength 3, toughness 3, that's average. Wounds 3, that's really good. Initiative 3, that initiative works perfectly with the step aside skill, and we'll get into that in a minute. Attacks 2, that's really quite good, as most people only have 1 attack, especially enforcers and enforcer sergeants. Sorry, every time I look at an enforcer sergeant, I just cry a little bit inside. It's so miserable having a sergeant or a champion just not have more than 1 attack. It's just sad. Anyway, the rest of her stats is leadership 6, Cool check 5, that's quite good. Willpower 6 and intelligence 6, that is all above average. Now, her weapons are also kind of good. I say kind of good. There's no, well, apart from the throwing knives with a -1 AP, they're average, but they don't need to be anything that special. The long las is a really good sniper rifle, not as good as the Enforcer sniper rifle. It can aim a bit further, but the long las is just a really good area of denial weapon. Because it's a sniper rifle, mate, and Necromunda boards are really quite enclosed and short range, unless you're playing in Ash Wastes. But still, being able to shoot somebody before they can shoot you is a really good ability to have, and a long las is a really good gun. Your +1 to hit at long range, turning that ballistic skill into a 2, and also you've got an infra sight, meaning that if they're behind cover or something where it's -1, so you're back on 3-ups, the infra sight for the long las is it just adds 1 to your accuracy as well. Also the infra sight, spoiler warning, usually I do the war gear at the end, but because we're on the topic of the infra sight lets you see in low light conditions, which again is very nice. The infra sight is something I've got on one of my bolt gun guys in my Enforcer gang, because it's just an auto include. Anyway, strength 4, quite good. No AP, is what it is. Damage 1, ammo 2, meaning that if you get the reload icon on the ammo dice, you can just reload easily, and it's plentiful. Meaning that ammo's everywhere, and you can just fire it unless you are incredibly unlucky and just keep getting 1s. But unless that happens, you're laughing. It's a really good gun. Really good. Also, combine that with precision shot, it's quite good. It's incredibly good. If you roll a 6, your opponent can't do an armor save, and it just sort of auto wounds if you roll a 6 on the hit roll. But that's only for armor saves, not for infon saves. Infon saves just gives everybody a permanent save, unless you got a shadow field. But I digress. Sorry. It's just the idea of re-recording all this, so I sort of ramble. Auto pistols, short range 4, long range 12. If you're within short range, it's +1 to hit, so it should be. It's an auto pistol. Strength 3, no AP, damage 1, 4-ups to reload if you get the reload icon. Sidearm and rapid fire 1, meaning that if you get the 3 bullet holes on the ammo dice, you can do 3 hits for 1 shot. It's a really good thing to have. A rapid fire firearm is really nice, especially if you give that auto pistol fragmentation rounds, because then it just becomes just the funniest thing. Throwing knives is an odd choice, but makes sense for this character. Throwing knives, you can... I love throwing knives, but I hate how the range is, because instead of just telling you the range, it's range times 2 strength, meaning that its range, minimum range, is 6 inches. Look at me doing maths. Long range, strength times 4, meaning that it's 12 inches to throw the knife. But if you throw at long range, then it's -1 to hit. No strength, AP -1, and it's a toxin weapon. Oh, and ammo 5. It is scarce though, meaning that you can run out of ammo for your knives. And before you ask, yes, you can go to the trading post with an Ogren gang and give them throwing knives. I love throwing knives. I once took one of my Lobo Ogrens, or once gave my Lobo Ogrens a bunch of throwing knives. And it's like, oh, what's the range? Oh, mate, it's it's 20 inches, just yeet. And if you hit someone with a Lobo Ogren throwing knife, then in all honesty, they deserve to die, because it's a Lobo Ogren throwing a knife at you. What are you going to do? It's such a good weapon. Such a good weapon, I love it, but it's so bad on Ogrins, but I do love it. I like how silly it is. Anyway, one of its other weapons is a stiletto knife, which is a toxin weapon that you can use in melee. That's it. There's nothing else I can say about that. It's a toxin weapon. So, her skills, she has got infiltrate, which means that you can spawn in 6 inches behind someone or in front of them or wherever. As long as you're 6 inches away from any enemy fighter, you can spawn in and just charge them and stab them London style. Precision shot, I've already gone over that. If you roll a 6 on the hit roll, that's the auto wound, unless they've got an invuln save, which get fucked if that happens. No, you still have to. It's not an auto wound. My mistake. Better correct that. There's no armor save. You still have to roll to wound, but there is no armor save against that attack unless it's a invuln. Nearly got that wrong. Step aside is a weird one, and we're going to have to go into it because I sometimes confuse this for parry. So this is step aside. It says that if hit in close combat, pass an initiative test to avoid the hit. Can only be used once per enemy in each round of close combat, meaning that if you're swarmed by 3 enemies, you can only do that once per enemy. If an enemy makes more than 1 attack, only 1 attempt can be made to step aside. I cannot tell you, I played against someone, I had enforcers, I finally got a charge off on enforcers, I hit, and they passed the initiative test. They only have 1 attack. Oh, but the stub gun, it doesn't count. The stub gun never hits and wounds. It's just what the stub gun takes up. You might as well be firing one of those joke guns, but Step Aside is a really good ability, and if I carry on, I'm going to complain about enforcers again. I just have to say, Ogrins beat enforcers in everything. Fight me. And finally, we have the war gear. Basically, there is no other special rules other than Death Maiden. She can only be taken by Escher gangs. It's just a shame her rules aren't in the Escher book, because why would they be? Anyway, the war gear, Chem Synth, which is incredibly useful for this character. I'll explain in a minute, and Mesh Armor, which is a 5-up armor save. And Infrasight, I've already been through that. Basically lets you see in low light conditions and gives you +1 to accuracy. Chem Synth is a really interesting and useful ability. Let me show you what I mean. So, finally, we're at the end, and all of the recording is going well. This is what the Chem Synth does. If standing, you have to be standing, you can't be pinned. If standing at the start of an activation, pass an intelligence test, and with intelligence 6, that's quite easy to do, to reduce the toughness of any targets with 1, it should say by 1, when resolving attacks for gas and or toxin weapons this activation. Now, this ability for gas is kind of useless because there's plenty of counters, like hazard suits, respirators, industrial. There's plenty of, or even filter plugs is quite useful against gas, and they're quite cheap depending what gang you are. But toxin weapons, there's not really a counter to them. And having the ability to basically take away someone's toughness by 1 when you attack with a toxin weapon means that anybody that's toughness 3 turns into toughness 2, and rolling equal or higher to toughness 2 is quite easy. It's quite easy. Same with their toughness 4, they become toughness 3, same thing. Ogrins, even they suffer a little bit because they become toughness 4. And then you have to roll over or equal to their toughness, so it becomes 50-50, unless you're attacking an upgraded Ogrin with a higher toughness. Say, toughness 7. Oh, dear. Yeah, once an Ogrin has toughness 7, you just have to realise that unless you're firing an overcharged plasma gun at them, you're wounding on 6s and 5s. God can't help you. No one can help you. That Lobo Ogren that became Toughness 7 was my favourite. I loved him. He was my favourite Ogren. Just the best Ogren ever. Just Toughness 7 Ogren just charging at you. Doesn't you wound me on 6, coward. Anyway, I have been Idiotic Synergy. Thank you for listening to me talk about this bounty hunter. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later. And take care. Maybe I'll do another lore video about one of these bounty hunters, because there's a couple of weird ones that I really want to talk about. Stay safe.